All right, I want to welcome everyone to tonight's debut episode of a new podcast on the DROPPIN Knowledge Network. For those people that have followed the DROPPIN Knowledge brand for the past 10 months or so, coming up on a year in April, I really appreciate the support. We've gotten tremendous support across all of our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And our goal when we set out with the DROPPIN Knowledge Network was to educate and inspire folks. There was a lot of information that's out there. I think oftentimes the biggest difference between the rich and the poor, of course, there's other things that you can look at, but in many cases, it's just the information that one has access to. And so the DROPPIN Knowledge podcast started off with that vision, that goal. But given its success, we've actually expanded beyond that to what you call the DROPPIN Knowledge Network. So that is the new entity that will house a number of different podcasts and shows. But regardless of what the show is, regardless of who the host is, we're all still about educating folks on a various amount of different topics. And so again, you should take a lot out of what we have coming this particular season. But I'm excited about tonight because we're kicking off a brand new show called Building While Black. So it's focused on entrepreneurs, whether they are early stage entrepreneurs or they've been in business for quite some time. Again, giving everyone the opportunity to see other entrepreneurs, understand their world, understand their businesses, their challenges, their journeys. And hopefully, if you're an entrepreneur, you take something from it. Or if you are someone that is thinking about entrepreneurship, you're really able to take something away. So we have some really great guests tonight. But with further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get the podcast started tonight, Building While Black. Again, go ahead and tag your friends, share it on your page if you don't mind. Should be a great conversation with two amazing ladies. All right, what's going on? I want to welcome everybody to the brand new first episode of Building While Black. Again, focused on Black entrepreneurs, learning and hearing about their journeys and their stories. And tonight we have two wonderful, amazing guests for you. We have Dr. Kenya and Dr. Alex. They are both out of Chicago. And when you talk about women doing big things, they are it. And so with that being said, I want to go ahead and have each of these young ladies introduce themselves. And so why don't we kick things off with Dr. Kenya? Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your background, Kenya?
Okay, so as you stated, I'm Dr. Kenya McCaleb. I am originally from Chicago, the South Side, specifically the South Shore community. And I actually was inspired by a dentist coming up outside of my family and my parents inspiring me. In general, I had a wonderful dentist that really motivated me to kind of pursue my dreams in dentistry. And she was amazing. Her name was Dr. Rhonda Whiteside. And it started when I was in elementary school. And I asked her to come speak to my career day for my class. And I remember saying, oh, I want to do that. I want to be like that when I grow up. And she was amazing. The way that she spoke with people, the way that she engaged people down to her practice. It was just something that, I wanted to become. And when I got older, I had an opportunity to work for her in her practice as a dental assistant. And it just took off from there. And from that point on, I always told myself that I wanted to serve as an inspiration for the next young person, to let them know that they can do what they want to do in life, and that anything is possible. So that's how I started my career in dentistry.
Very cool, Dr. Kenya. Very cool story. And it's always great to have inspirations and mentors growing up. So that's a dope story.
So important.
Yeah, it is. How about you, Dr. Alex?
Thank you for having us. First of all, we're really excited to be here. My name is Dr. Alex Jundt, and I'm also a general dentist here in downtown Chicago. I'm originally from Madison, Wisconsin, and was born and raised there, went to school there, and kind of similar to Dr. Kenya, was inspired early on by just wanting to make a difference and wanting to help my community. And where I grew up, there wasn't a whole lot of minority physicians, dentists, and when I was young, I saw an infomercial about dentists and doctors and physicians kind of going to kind of untouched parts of the world and, really making a difference. And I thought to myself, I was about 12 years old, and I said, if I could do that, an opportunity to do that one day and really make a difference and use my skill to help people who aren't as fortunate, then I would love to have that opportunity. And so kind of flash forward with some guidance and some mentorship, that led me to dental school in Nashville, Tennessee, which is where we met. And that's kind of where our actual dental careers sort of kicked off. But really the opportunity to engage my creative side and artistic side, working with my hands every day, and then also engage the medical and scientific side is really a blend of two things I think that makes this profession really unique and enjoyable. So I love it.
Wow, that's really cool. You all both kind of caught this bug at a very early age and then had mentorship around you that kind of guided you this direction. Let me ask you a question. So as a dentist, obviously there's schooling that you have to go through. You mentioned kind of being artistic. Do you have to be nice with your hands to really be a dentist? If you're not really nice with, like, you got to, maybe you can jump or you can leap. Like, do you have to have, is it all book knowledge, or do you have to have certain kind of hand skills and things that would make you a good dentist?
I think it's
a combination, right?
Yeah, it's certainly a combination of both. Where we went to school, we went to dental school at Meharry Medical College, which is one of two historically Black colleges for dental school, and we were really fortunate. There were they kind of build you up. So where you maybe need some work, whether it's your hand skills or your book smarts, I think finding a community and finding a place that will kind of nurture and build that is really important. But in dental school, we did things like draw each tooth from each angle. You're sculpting things in wax.
You're carving. I definitely do. I agree with Dr. Alex. It's definitely a combination. But again, you're in school, you're in training where you're lacking, they can build that up. I mean, at least, at Meharry, and I'm pretty sure at other dental schools too in their programs, it's your training. They help you, through the process. So you're going to have to be able to see too, the art side of things and create as you're doing dentistry. So
I think it's a combo. Having a kind of an interest in science or in the arts will certainly make this profession more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Got it. I never even thought about that till you talked about art, and so you got getting busy in mind. That's dope. I appreciate that. So when you met in college, when did you all start to bake and develop this idea of we should go into business together, we should open an office together? When did that happen?
I mean, I feel like, me and Dr. Alex, we kind of, we started off the same. We graduated from dental school. We did extra training after dental school. And then we came back to Chicago and we worked as associates, right? So we definitely was on a grind. We were associates for so many years, and, we'll see each other out. We'll keep in contact. We'll hang out. And we'll have like these random discussions. And it was just the perfect time. It was the perfect time. Mm-hmm. We had an opportunity, and it was a phone call. Hey, girl, you want to meet for dinner? Like, okay, when are we going to do this? Basically. So that's just how it happened.
Yeah.
It was very natural. Yeah.
And an idea that turned into a conversation. And then I think we had both realized that, hey, we're working for someone else and we're pretty much living somebody else's dream.
Yeah.
We're running the offices, our respective offices, and seeing our own patients, exercising all this autonomy, but we don't have the the ability to create our own vision for how we would like to practice, how we would like to create our own practice. And realizing how great that would be, I think we both decided that if an opportunity presented itself, we would be ready for it.
Yeah. And it was the right opportunity. You know,
Right.
we purchased the practice from another African-American woman, a very prominent dentist here in Chicago, which she retired, and we took over her practice. And she wanted to make sure that she was passing it down to African-American women as well, that kind of upheld the same views in dentistry and practices that we can just kind of carry on, and then integrate, you know, our own theories and practices and new patients and all of that into.
Wow. So as two female entrepreneurs getting ready to open your own practice, what was your level of what do you want to call it? Intrepidation, just scale of 1 to 10. Where were you ladies? Were you just gung ho? We're about to do this. Were you kind of nervous, saying, hey, you know what, we're dentists, but we've never focused on the business side and necessarily been responsible for the business side? Where would each of you kind of put yourself on a level of 1 to 10? How did you get past that?
I think we moved so quickly.
Yeah.
We didn't even have time.
We didn't have time to think
it was
about
a sliding scale the whole way through.
It's like, let's just do it. Okay. All right. When we're in it. Like,
we gotta
we're
go.
In it. We gotta get it going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the main thing, prior to probably opening this practice, one of the main things was not fully seeing myself represented as a Black female dentist, business owner, entrepreneur. And when we met the dentist that we purchased the practice from, we literally walked in together, and we saw. I saw it for the first time in front of my eyes. Hey, this woman's been doing this for 33 years. If she can do it, there's two of us. We definitely can do this.
Yeah.
So once we saw that, and we realized, okay, she runs payroll. We can run payroll. She's
doing this.
Signed the lease. She's doing this.
Yes.
We can do it. We can do it. So,
and she actually came out of dental school. She didn't do any extra training. She came out the gates and bought a practice. Mm-hmm. So she definitely kind of served as the blueprint for us.
Mm-hmm. As we didn't know really a whole lot about the business side. So it was getting in contact with the right people, taking the initial steps. So having her kind of lead us a little bit through those initial steps was helpful.
That is so important. I think for any entrepreneurs that's listening, I talk about that all the time. Having a mentor and somebody basically giving you the blueprint, it keeps you from so many mistakes, and in business mistakes, right? And so, in talking about money, right, one of the things that keeps people from starting something, whatever it might be, is capital, right? So you both talked about having the opportunity to buy the practice. Where did the capital come from? Did you both do a great job of saving up? Did you have to go to your network? Did you go to parents? Kind of talk about how each of you came up with your piece of the pie to buy the practice.
Yeah. So what I did, we both kind of did. We were in school, so that we already had invested significantly into our education, and that comes with a price tag and a certain amount of debt too. So saving to purchase some form of down payment really just wasn't an option.
We was
too much invested already in our education that we still owed. So what we did was made sure that our credit looked okay, and didn't purchase, we weren't planning to purchase or make any other purchases like a home or a car at the time. And we just started going to the banks and say, what do you need to see, and what do we need to get together? So I think just having worked and having a couple of tax returns under our belt as associates made a big difference. I think it may have been a little bit more difficult to prove to a bank right after school, but I think having several years worth of tax returns from what we were able to generate as associates helped.
Yeah.
And then from there, knowing how much to ask for and seeing if we could get approved.
It's definitely different. in terms of a little difference in terms of opening a practice versus just starting, a regular normal business. At school, even our last year, we had, banks come out. They would do presentations saying that, they'll grant us X amount of dollars to open up a practice. In general, overall, I believe that the dental industry is a lower risk with the banks. So it's definitely a different process. But I do agree with Dr. Alex. We had experience under our belt, at least, what was it, like five years, 4 years of however many years of practicing as an associate, which means that, we can produce more. Our hand skills are a little bit better versus someone coming straight out of school.
Right.
And I think that kind of added on and helped us secure the loan and the monies and financial things that we need to open the business.
Yeah. We certainly did not save.
No, we didn't have millions of dollars in the bank. We had some savings,
right?
But it wasn't
nearly enough to start.
Not enough to start.
Gotcha. So that's great to hear. So many businesses and entrepreneurs aren't able to get loans. So you kind of talked about that, Dr. King, in terms of just the dental business versus other businesses. But how was that process? Did you have to talk to a large number of banks before you got approved, or was that a pretty simple and easy process for you ladies? So that's first question. And then second, business plan. Did you ladies have a business plan that you had to present and show?
So the bank process, we did end up going to more than one bank.
Yeah.
We started with a very large and well-known bank. They came in saying, "Oh, we can do this. We have team members dedicated to all these sorts of things." And when it came down to it, it was a bit of a mess. We actually didn't end up getting approved through that first one. And so, we didn't stop there. So if you don't get approved through the first one, kind of adjust your approach. And we decided that we would, try a smaller local bank, and they ended up having better interest rates.
Yes.
So sometimes those things happen, I think, for a reason.
Yep.
And we ended up getting, a really great deal
Yeah.
through the bank that ended up becoming our lender. As far as our particular business plan, it was kind of, with dentistry, we're fortunate that we didn't have to come up with specifics. It's kind of, laid out in terms of the number of treatment rooms we have. And that was already, that was already laid out for us since we were purchasing an existing practice.
Right.
So there wasn't too much of a business plan that we needed to write, but in terms of just proving to the bank that we were going to be able to stay open
and do better than what the last dentist, what she produced. And of course we are, because it's double. Yeah. Right. So, yeah.
So how long is, so let's plug the office. We haven't gotten a chance to plug the office. So where are you located? How do people get in touch with you? How do they find out about Smile Theory?
Yes. So we're on 30 North Michigan Avenue. We're in Millennium Park, right across the street from the Bean, on the 16th floor. So if you're downtown, it's that building, Washington is the cross street.
Yep, Washington and Michigan.
Michigan.
So we're Smile Theory at Millennium Park. So it's like Orange Theory, but Smile Theory for your teeth. You guys can get in touch with us either through our social media, Instagram is at Smile Theory Chicago, or by visiting our website, smiletheorymp.com, or just Googling Smile Theory in Chicago. Check out our Google reviews. We take excellent care of our patients and take pride in our work, and we are accepting new patients.
Yeah, always.
Always. Very cool. So how long have you ladies been open?
We've been at this location for about a year and a half now. Yep, we're approaching the 2-year mark. Okay,
so within 2 years, I'm just going to assume that you two ladies, even though you complete each other's sentences, which is so great, I'm sure that there's been some disagreements and about business, and it's only 2 of you, right? So sometimes when there's 3, there's somebody to break the tie. How do you guys or how do you ladies actually work through when you see things differently from a business perspective? And if you have an example where you can share, I think that would be great for the audience.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You can correct me if I'm wrong. We don't have that many disagreements. You know, with dentistry, it's like you can do it 50 billion ways, right? To complete a certain procedure to get to the end result, right? So I think we're always open when it comes to discussing treatment in business and different ideas. I think it works for us because, you know, we are able to talk to each other and communicate, you know, so if one person has a different view from the next, it's not weird to, you know, state how we feel or maybe we need to change this or kind of tweak that. So it works for us. It hasn't been any, you know, arguments or someone having to come in and say, okay, like break it up. I'm gonna be the deciding factor here.
And I think that comes from trusting your partner.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Even if I'm sure, I mean, we have seen things different ways, but what it doesn't end up really becoming a problem because if I know where her intentions are and she knows where mine are. So I think if we can say, hey, okay, let's try it your way and let's go with it. And that comes from just trusting your partner and knowing that you have someone who has the, you know, your vision, who shares the vision and has, you know, the office or the practice's best interest at heart. So if there is a disagreement, it really just turns into more of a collaboration and saying, okay, why don't we mend these two, or let's try your way first,
right?
And see what ends up becoming best, because ultimately we just want the same things to be successful, for this practice to be successful.
Yeah, and for the patients to be happy and have the best care,
experience.
And best experience possible.
That's very cool. So a question I don't know. I don't know if it's always kind of the goal. So even when you're in school, I don't know if they kind of prime you to get out and actually start your own practice. But where I'm going with the question is, how much business experience that you ladies have? I mean, you're running a business in downtown Chicago, the third largest city in the country. And you focus. You've been focused on your practice, right, of dentistry, but business is business, and that comes from things. How did you, going into this, did you all both have a pretty good feel and pretty good business acumen, or is that something that you had to kind of learn and pick up as you go?
We are learning every day.
Learning every day, you know, not just dentistry. You know, dentistry is an ongoing learning process, but this business, like the ins and outs, running a business is also an ongoing learning process.
Yes. We felt very confident in terms of our clinical and dental skills coming out of school. As far as running a business, having any business sense, or, you know, how to take the first steps, that was not something that we were prepared for in any way, or, you know, that we took steps to really, you know, prepare ourselves for immediately after dental school. It was just kind of focused on, let's start practicing the dentistry, and the business side was way over there in terms of something that we had a grasp on. So I think every day is a learning experience, the mistakes you learn very quickly, because they're, you know, especially if they're expensive, but it's certainly, I mean, in these first 2 years, I have learned so much,
you know. It's a total, I think it's a total difference from when we first started up until this point, you know, a difference in us and how we, you know, run our business and manage our staff and all of that.
Yeah.
You know, dental school does a really good job with the clinical portion of our career, but they kind of leave the business towards the end, like the last
couple lectures,
the last hour, you know, when we're running out of there. Like, oh, but wait a minute, did you know?
We had no experience, none whatsoever.
So outside of real life everyday experience, which is normally the best, is there anything that you two do to kind of sharpen those business skills, books, podcasts, what have you? Or do you really just zero in, focus on the dentistry, knowing that if you do a great job there, the business is going to grow because you're taking care of people?
Well, I think that, me and Dr. Alex, there's a ton of CE, a ton of classes, our mentors that we definitely use our mentors for.
Right. Continuing education?
Yes, continuing education. Right, yes, it's so important, not just in the clinical aspect, but in business too. They have, certain courses and things that will help you run and maintain your business. But I do definitely think that mentorship is important to have. If you're an entrepreneur, you're young and you're trying to start a business, it's good that you have some type of resource there for yourself to kind of tap into when you need to for ideas and all of the information. But definitely, I think it's a combination of that continuing edge and tapping into mentorships, and then our peers too that have been in the business longer than us. They're a good resource to use too. So
someone who's maybe a couple years ahead of you, because maybe some of your mentors are 20, 25 years in the game, and those initial steps look much different than they do now. So taking a look at someone who's doing something in real time, maybe a few years ahead of you, we'd be able to offer ourselves a great deal of advice 2 years ago that now that we have this knowledge. So
definitely
the resources.
So what would you ladies say, what's been your biggest challenge to date as business partners?
Staff.
I know.
I think just managing staff. Yeah. When you're an entrepreneur, you think about your own work ethic and your own vision, and you have to find a way to, whether it's through a partnership or through staff members, and hopefully you want to build your team, to find a way to lead and create an environment that inspires others to share that same vision.
Yes.
And that's a whole new it's a whole new ball game to us. And it's challenging every day because this is our dream, and so we want to make sure that we share it and inspire it in a way that it becomes important to other people too. But that is something that is always, I think, going to be a challenge, talking to other leaders.
Yeah.
That's an ongoing struggle. So I think, we definitely have taken courses, listened to podcasts, read books on, leadership too is an important aspect.
Yeah. And just keeping, your staff motivated, and definitely with everything that's going on too, with COVID and the pandemic, in general, it just weighs on people, so just kind of managing and making sure, that everyone is okay mentally, in our practice, and our staff. So, managing the staff.
And just being resilient too, I would say. Like we had the shutdown during during March, and then, we had our office sustain a flood, and it's just kind of one thing after another,
a spiral,
and those things happen. So it's like you have to be able to stay motivated and stay positive, and just keep going.
One foot in front of the other.
Absolutely. You all are making it look flawless and seamless, so keep it up. Keep it up. So has there been anything since you all have been in business? What would you consider to be maybe the biggest thing that happened, right? That didn't happen and it wasn't a good thing, but it happened and you guys figured it out and got past it. Has it been any of those situations that people may be able to pull or draw from?
Yeah, I think probably, honestly, the shutdown.
We were closed for what, 3 months?
3 months, exactly. 3 months from March to June. We were closed.
We were closed, not seeing any patients. It was just silent.
Yes. And, you know, we kind of had a talk with each other and say, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can panic and you can worry, or you can just get to work. And so we use that time to, I think, just strategize,
Yes.
remodel, and kind of update the office, make it even more safe for our patients, install some new equipment, so that when it was time to come back, that we came back stronger and better
ready,
than ever, and ready. And I think it's, looking back now, you know, the office space is a bit more updated. It's even more safe, new filtration devices. And I think overall it's a better patient experience because we really appreciate where we are and that we have the ability to do what we came there to do. So,
and then I think too, during that time, we were really creative of how we could help our patients, you know, in terms of, okay, we can't see you face to face, but what we can do is some teledentistry and kind of troubleshoot. So, you know, that was, you know, the COVID shutdown was a little challenging, but I do think that we overcame that and it made us stronger and better providers.
Definitely.
So I think that was the biggest challenge so far for us.
Yeah. Yeah. The next one's probably around the corner, but yeah, I dig it.
Yeah.
So when you, so going into 2021, what are kind of, let's put the dentistry to the side. What are the business goals? That you all have some business goals that you wanted to accomplish this year? And how do you look at that? Like, we want to grow the number of customers.
Yeah.
What were some of the goals that you all had, and kind of talk about that a little bit for me?
Yeah. So, you know, we're looking to expand, you know, Smile Theory in 2021. We're always accepting patients, things of that nature. Again, you know, COVID kind of threw us a curveball, you know, but we're slowly and surely working our way up to expanding
the space.
Yeah.
And engaging, I think, more
Yeah.
of our social media presence and marketing. I think when we were first starting out, it was just like, let's work on keeping the patients that we inherited. And now the goal is to, of course, expand into a larger space so that we can accommodate more patients. And of course, we want to, in order to do that, we also want to see more patients. And I think doing those two things, like from a business perspective, of course, we need to, that involves generating more revenue. So just being conscious about our spending, monitoring our spending, and our, you know, having a better understanding of our profit and our loss. I think when we first started, it was so much going on that we didn't know up from down, and we were just trying to keep the lights on and keep everybody happy. And now we can really start to dissect what our practice is doing and where how the numbers look, and what a bank needs to see in order to you know, potentially lend us more for a larger space so that we can, you know, really build the practice of our dreams.
So yeah, we are paying more attention to, you know, our numbers, like Dr. Alex was mentioning. Yeah.
So you all mentioned your staff today. You talked about, and that's, yeah, it's across the board, right? People just having employees can just come with it can come with some challenges. How many employees do you have today? Firstly,
we have 7, right? 7.
Okay, 7 employees. And so, how did you all go about? Did you inherit those employees? Did you all have to kind of start from the ground up? What have you done to kind of find those employees?
So we inherit some of the employees, and then we brought on 2 additional new employees. So it was a combination.
Okay.
Definitely a combination.
Okay. Did you so the folks that you brought on, how did you find them? And then how did you create the process to actually bring those employees in? Had you guys done interviewing in the past? So how did you find them?
Yeah.
And what was that process of actually hiring them?
So it was kind of a combination of how we found them. I think just being in the dental field, there were people a network of people that we could reach out to. There's dental reps. Hey, we're looking for a front desk person, or hey, we're looking for an assistant. So kind of using our network, and then we also engaged. We've done this twice. Two young women who are interested in the dental field. They've also reached out to us to see if they could just also get some experience too. So, but another way that we've reached out to potential candidates is through Facebook, through different
websites, dental specific websites that specifically look at healthcare workers and in the dental field, things of that nature.
Like job posts.
And
I mean, I think those were the main things. And then when we had never conducted an interview before, so when we first started that process, it was a little bit all over the place. It was kind of phone interview, and then maybe a working interview, or how does that look? And then as we started to do more and more of those interviews, we decided, especially since there's two of us, that we should come up with some type of rubric and sample questions and more situational, like specific questions about, not what are your strengths and weaknesses, but rather, hey, if a patient comes in is complaining of a toothache or a broken filling and is upset, or how would you handle specifically this, and kind of taking problems that may actually arise in our practice and kind of engaging the potential candidate and seeing how he or she responds. And then we kind of started to get a better fit for our practice when we started honing in on those things.
Got it. That's excellent. So you talked a little bit about it during the interviewing process and kind of creating that. How do you all separate responsibilities, right? It being two of you, how do you decide who kind of does what in the business?
We just have a giant list.
It's divide
and conquer.
Divide and conquer. We have our to-do list, on our desk every day, and it's just a list. And either I'll come in and I'll start doing things on a to-do list, and I'll check it off, and then I'll leave, and then Dr. Alex will come in and we'll look at the list, say, okay, she'll check it off,
and we'll make sure that it gets done.
It gets done. As long as it gets done,
right,
we're okay.
Yeah, we're okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like I don't have the bandwidth to handle this, and then Dr. Kenya, she comes right in and handles it. Or we're feeling she's really good at social media, so we kind of just rely on the individual strengths. And make sure that whatever it is, it gets done. And having a partner it's amazing. If it's the right partner.
If it's the right partner, that's right.
Doing this alone would be
a challenge. You got payroll, you have bills, you have to, be organized, and staff again, and more staff now. So, you have a great partner, it's like a team. It's a team effort, so.
Right. So let me ask you this. You talked about developing as a leader and kind of leading people and inspiring people. I want each of you to answer this. Is there anything that that you've gotten back in the way of feedback from some of these employees since you've been open that kind of, shocked you, it opened your eyes, you didn't really see yourself that way, but somebody saw you a certain way and gave feedback? I've had that before, and I think it's just always like, damn, really?
Yeah.
I mean, reading sometimes.
Well, my assistant told me the other day that I'm very picky. She said I was picky, and she's like, oh my gosh, if she doesn't have it this way, she is. And I feel like I'm a very laid back person, but the way that she was talking was just like, no, you are not that. Basically, you are very picky. You are meticulous. If it has to be a certain way, and then when it's not, you're upset. Okay. You know.
I think when you are a leader and you want your staff to feel like they can approach you and come to you, you want to feel like it's a collaborative environment. And we've definitely made an effort to do so. But I think it's just not taking it personally and just saying, okay, I'm going to internalize or I'm going to take this in and not internalize it. And
I'll work on it.
And work on it as constructive criticism, because ultimately, if we have a team that runs smoothly, that's going to make everybody's day better. But I think when I've gotten feedback of like, oh, okay, we both get that we're a little, I think, picky sometimes, or we go and retake that X-ray. You have to kind of take a step back and say, okay, where could I improve here?
Maybe.
That's real. So as we wrap up, ladies, so let's think back to your college days, right, when you all were both in dental school, and maybe a young lady who's listening and watching this, and she's somewhere in Florida, right, just being inspired, hearing you two business owners and dynamic women kind of lead a business. What would you tell yourself to streamline getting here?
A great question.
It is a great question. I mean, I would, encourage anyone to just do it. If you're sitting there and you're thinking about starting a business, but you're scared, you just have to step out on faith. Yes, there are going to be roadblocks, but it's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you smarter. It's going to make you a better entrepreneur. But you have to start. You have to start somewhere. You just can't keep, putting it off. You don't have to have all of this knowledge or all of this money to start, or everything just needs to be lined up. Just get going. Yes. You can do it, and you learn on the way. You learn on the way and have your mentors. I think me and Dr. Alex at our practice, we have so many young African-American women coming in and out of our office, shadowing us. It's amazing. And we love it. We love to give back to them any type of knowledge, or whether it's like recommendation or just guidance to these young ladies, just to kind of motivate them and let them know that they can, do it. We've done it. You just have to work hard, be diligent, and it will happen. It will come.
Right. And those roadblocks, they're going to happen.
They're going to happen.
So when they do, that just means it's a redirection. So just find another way and get creative and keep moving.
Keep moving.
Wow, you ladies are amazing. So I want to thank you, Dr. Kenya, Dr. Alex. This is a great way to kick off episode 1, the debut episode of Building While Black. Two amazing entrepreneurs and dentists. So as we wrap up, one more time, tell us about the business, where they can find you if they want to come check you out. If there's anything special on, go ahead and plug the business.
All right. Yes, we are general dentists offering all types of dental and cosmetic services, including Invisalign, veneers, whitening, your traditional cleanings. We also are doing a lot of Botox and facial fillers. So if you are interested in a consultation, give our office a call. Just Google us at Smile Theory. We are located downtown Millennium Park. We are off all of the lines, and there is validated parking. So we would love to see new faces.
Yes. Come join the Smile Theory team. Our number is 312-263-0880.
Very cool. I'm going to be at your door with asking for the DROPPIN Knowledge Network discount.
Oh, there you go.
So thank you, ladies, for everybody else who tuned in tonight. We appreciate it. Make sure that you share this. Sharing is caring. Again, these ladies dropped so many jewels over the last 45 minutes. Regardless of what business you're in, they dropped entrepreneurial jewels as well, and super inspiring. So I want to thank my guests. I want to thank all of our listeners. And again, be sure to follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and also YouTube. And so thank you. Next week, we are back with episode 2. We got my man, Jonathan Swain, who wanted to shout you out, Dr. Kenya.
Oh, Mr. Swain.
right. Coming up on episode number 2. So everyone have a great night. Until next week. Peace.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.